Okay. So when you observe these two equations, it is understood that the two equations are not same. Therefore, the system is non-linear. Is that audible for you, Sayan? Is it audible?
Yes, sir. Sir, it is
Shouldn't they
time
be equal
invariant,
as
sir.
del of n minus 2k and del of n minus k naught minus 2k? When we plot, we'll get the same graph.
No, no. They won't be same graph, right? See, if del of n minus 2k means you are having only 2k times delay. But here, k naught is also getting added. So it means it will get delayed more.
So,
For
but we are
example,
plotting from minus infinity to infinity. So it won't be noticeable. Both will look same.
no. We are adding now. We are adding all the signals from minus infinity to infinity. That is what I told you. Because you need to understand the physical meaning of adding from minus infinity to infinity. I'll let you know once again. Suppose this is your del of n. Between I lost the connection. Is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you add these three, you are getting like signals from -1 to +1. Even at the origin also, you are getting some sort of signals. Similarly, if you are adding from minus infinity, like suppose I am having a signal at minus infinity, then minus infinity minus 1 is also I am having signal. Then when you add all these signals means you will get so many impulses like this from minus infinity to infinity. This is what I want to convey you regarding that shifted inverse. Okay. So in the last slide, what we discussed is it is non-linear because both the equations, when you add means you will have a notified impulse, isn't it? Which is different from equation number one because extra one delay is coming over here. Clear? Extra one delay is coming over here. So which means that you have to take that particular delay also into account. So ultimately the two equations are not same. Therefore it is not linear. I mean, non. It is not time invariant. I'm so sorry. This is time invariant. Okay. System is time variant. Time variant. We are checking time variant. System is time variant. If it is equal means we can say that it is time invariant. But here the two signals are not equal to each other. Therefore it is system is time variant. Now we will be checking the third property. The third property we have is, what is the third property that we have? Memory. And we have the output equation y of n is equal to x of n multiplied by sigma k varies from minus infinity to infinity del of n minus 2k. Now to check the memory, what we have to do is we have to provide some time values like 0, 1, -1 and all. It is evident by observation itself. We can say that output depends only on present values of inputs. Present values of inputs. There is no past values. If it is x of n minus 1 means it is depending on the past values. But here it is y of n is depending only on x of n. That is present values. Therefore, the system is memoryless. output depends only on the present values of input. If you are providing y of 0, it is depending on x of 0. If you are providing y of 1, it is depending on x of 1. So only present values of inputs are taken into consideration for finding the output. Therefore, the system is memoryless system. Take it down. Now, after finding the memory of the system, then we will go for checking the causality of the system. And to check the causality, we need to check whether the system is depending on future values or not. Here, the system does not depend on future values. Future means when we are concentrating on time t equal to 0, the future will be 1, 2, 3, etc. Since y of 0 is depending only on x of 0, y of 1 is depending only on x of 1, there is no future inputs dependency over here. Therefore, it is non-causal. It is causal. If it is depending on future means it will be non-causal. So system does not depend on the future values of input. Therefore, it is causal. Otherwise, if there is any future terms comes into our equation, then it will become a non-causal system. Any doubts? And next thing we will check the stability. I told you while checking the stability, we need to have an assumption. The assumption is that magnitude of input should be less than Vx, means it is a x of n is a bounded signal. This is the assumption that you need to take into consideration. Accordingly, you are going to find the magnitude of output. You know that y of n is nothing but input multiplied by that train of impulse. So when you see this, you can split into two terms. Okay, sir. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. So mod x of n, sigma k varies from minus infinity to infinity, del of n minus 2k. You need to split into two terms so that it will become mod x of n into magnitude of sigma k varies from minus infinity to infinity, del of n minus 2k. So you have splitted this entire function into two terms. Already it is understood that this is a bounded signal. Clear? Now, what about this sigma k varies from minus infinity to infinity, del of n minus 2k? It depends on.
Is unbounded.
Yes, it is unbounded. Why it is unbounded? Can anybody tell why it is unbounded? But in certain cases, it will become bounded. So, on what factor it will depend on?
Is it the summation, sir? It's given minus infinity to infinity.
Yeah. Yes, yes. If you sum the entire impulses from minus infinity to infinity, it will be like this only, isn't it? But that depends. We can't say that always that k it varies from minus infinity to infinity. Even if it just general formula is from minus infinity to infinity, but in certain cases it will be confining to limits like minus 2 to 3 and all. So if that case range is finite, that is minus 2 to 3 and all, then we can say that it is bounded. But need not necessary that that range of k will always between a finite values. It can go from minus infinity to infinity as well, isn't it? So it is a unbounded signal in certain cases. Okay, it depends on k. So this is unbounded and depends on k, because it is going towards infinity, plus infinity and minus infinity. So you can write one comment like this signal can be unbounded for certain values of or for infinite values of k. The signal can be unbounded signal for infinite values of k. Therefore, we can say that the system will be an unstable system. The system will be an unstable system. But please keep it in mind that it will not be always unstable. It again depends on this k value that you need to pinpoint somewhere, then only you will get marks. Okay. Suppose this is a 10-mark question. Each carries 2 marks. Stability will have 2 marks, causality will have 2 marks, memory will have 2 marks, linearity will have 2 marks, time invariance will have 2 marks. So you can't write that the system is unstable like that, but you have to pinpoint the the reason why it is unstable, because for infinite values of k only it is going to be an unbounded signal. That is why the system is unstable. For all cases it will not be an unstable system. Hope that is clear for you. Now, one more thing I need to recall regarding the del of n and del of k. Can I move to the next page? Hope this is clear. You have noted down. Now, I should write the difference between del of t and del of n. You know that del of t exists only at t equal to 0. Similarly, del of n also exists only at n equal to 0. But you can't say that both are same. It is different in certain aspects. The aspect is, for del of n, it is understood that its amplitude is 1 at n equal to 0. For n equal to 0, its amplitude is 1. This is nothing but your impulse signal. Impulse. And for all other cases, it is 0. For all other cases, the value of del of n will be 0. It is a unit impulse signal whose value will be always 1 at n equal to 0 alone. But when you come to del of t, you just need to understand this concept. This is a pulse, isn't it? This is a pulse signal which exists from minus t to t. If I am saying that the area under the curve is always unity, the condition is area under the curve is always unity, then this is the condition or constraint that you have. Then I am trying to reduce the width of this impulse. So correspondingly, what should I do? The constraint is the area should be 1. then you are trying to reduce the width, then what should you do? Can anybody tell?
T should tend to 0.
Yes, T should tend to 0. That is fine. But I just want to pinpoint your area should be unity. So when you try to reduce the width, in what factor you need to compromise? Because you need to maintain your area as one.
Amplitude.
Yes, amplitude you need to increase, isn't it? Because area is nothing but a width into height. Correct. So if you decrease a width, your height you need to increase. So when you decrease the width, it will be like this, isn't it? Later it will be like this. Later it will be like this. Clear? So del of t is a impulse function that exists at t equal to 0, having infinite height. Infinite height. Why it is infinite height? Because the property of any impulse function is that its area should be 1. How will you find an area under a given curve? Simply you need to integrate it from minus infinity to infinity. Then always you should get 1. This is a property. Clear? This is a property of any impulse function. So if you're trying to reduce the pulse width, of course you need to increase the height so that at t is equal to 0th instant, the impulse function's height will be infinity. But at the same time, here you can't say that the height is infinity for a discrete version. For a discrete impulse signal, you are having the amplitude 1 at n equal to 0. At the same time, if it is for a continuous impulse function, then the energy of that signal del of t will always 1. Energy is nothing but it is equivalent to area. If you square this, it will become energy, isn't it? If you square this function, that is integral minus infinity to infinity, mod del of t the whole square, it is nothing but your energy. So energy is also 1. Clear? This you need to keep it in mind, because this concept we might make use of the things in future. So you just try to understand the difference between del of t and del of n. The shape and all it is like same, because both are existing at a time t equal to 0 alone. This is n not t. Okay, both the signals are appearing only at the origin. Okay, when you come to the discrete version, its amplitude is 1, while when you come to the continuous version, you can't say that its amplitude is always 1, because you need to maintain the constraint. What is a constraint? Area under the curve should be unity. So you need to maintain the zero width and unit energy. So these are the 3 properties of del of t. So the 3 properties of any impulse function will have: it is having an infinite height, it is having a 0 width, and at the same time it is having a unit energy. So these are the basic 3 properties of an impulse function. And I hope you got the difference between del of t and del of n as of now. Okay. Thank you. We'll continue in the next class. So till this, you need to prepare for your CIE 1. Okay. For your first internal test, you need to prepare till this. Thank you all.